In this segment, we're going to tie a reverse tied woolly bugger. I'm going to go ahead and start the thread base just behind the eye. And go back. And your reference point is going to be the barb of the hook. We're going to stop there, and we're going to advance our thread back up just behind the eye. Next, we're going to be using a blood quill marabou. And to prepare it, we're just going to come up here and grab it just at the tips. We're going to stroke all the shorts out. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And then we're going to go ahead and make our tail the length of the shank of the hook. Let's go ahead and measure that up. Keep it just to this side of the hook. We're going to go ahead and come up, catch that, and lock it in, and we're going to go ahead and wrap that back, holding on to the tail, keeping it at the top of the hook, and applying steady pressure. We'll go ahead and trim that excess off. Now normally we would go ahead and start tying our chenille and hackle in right there, but we're going to go ahead and advance this back up just behind the eye, just leaving just a little bit. We're going to use a saddle hackle. This happens to be a whiting. You can go ahead and use strung saddle, that's your choice. And we're going to cut that stem off. We're going to tie this in at the base. I'm going to leave about 3/16 of an inch there. I'm just going to come up here and catch that, and just enough pressure to hold it there, and we're going to come back over top and under and catch that stem and tie that in. It's going to be very secure, and I'm going to go ahead and back away from that hackle just a little bit. Then we're going to tie our chenille in. If you look at this, it has a grain to it. As you can tell, I'm going to strip this very easily to expose that thread core. But another thing I want to point out is that grain, you want to tie that in so it's going back when you lay that in to tie that off. So when you're wrapping that, you're going to wrap with the grain. And some of you may have noticed in the past that you pull your chenille apart, and that's why you're going against that grain and just continuously wrapping that. You're pulling against it and just tearing it apart. Then we're going to go ahead and sneak that under and just advance our thread back here to the tail. Now if you want, you can add some flash. I'm going to apply a little bit of midge flash. You can do this prior to the hackle and the chenille if you want. But you can go ahead and just give it a little thumb pressure there. It's going to splay a little bit of that out to the other side, spreading that apart. And just go ahead and lock that down with a few wraps and just trim that off. Now we're going to go ahead and just going to wrap our chenille back. We want to leave a little room there, as I said, keep that bulk down from the eye. And we're going to wrap our hackle just a few times in some tight wraps right at the front. And then we're just going to wrap this back. That should do it right there. Come up and lock that in with 4 good tight wraps. And go ahead and trim that excess off. Now we're going to wrap our hackle. Just going to start here with, like I said, about 4 close wraps. And start to make our way back, just palming that hackle back. Grab a hackle plier here. Finish that off. And doing this reverse tie, it's really going to make a durable fly. If you ever encountered, fishing a woolly bugger, and next thing you know, you've caught a fish or two, and the hackle's hanging out back here. And we're just going to take our thread and wrap that up through and trim this off. I'm going to back this off again and show you again. You're just going to take and palm your thread back up through after you've tied that hackle down. Just come up through here just briskly. You're not going to really catch any of the hackles. And then we're just going to comb this back evenly. and make our thread head. And we're going to do a whip finish. And I'm going to do that again, double that up. And if we do a double whip finish here, we're really not going to need any head cement. You're welcome to, but I don't. That's more than durable enough, believe me. Trim that off, and there you have it. Reverse tied woolly bugger. You can find all the materials at DeFranksFlies.com. The fly tying page is under materials. Thank you, and see you on the water.